Agnico is scooping up TMAC resources for $2.20 a share. This comes after, of course, the federal government blocked a deal in which China's Shandong gold mining company would have bought TMAC. We are joined by Agnico CEO and Vice Chairman Sean Boyd. Sean, thanks very much for joining us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Great to be here.
So tell us your thinking. You held off from buying TMAC earlier. The Shandong deal fell apart. You came in with a slightly higher offer. What draws you to TMAC and its Hope Bay mine?
Well, it was really largely the exploration potential. So Hope Bay is the owner of about an 80-kilometer stretch on a major geological belt, already with over 10 million ounces of reserve and resource. So we just see it as an attractive platform to grow the overall deposit, but also to optimize the existing operation. And as you mentioned, we had looked at it earlier prior to the Shandong deal. The timing just wasn't great for Agnico. We still had some work to do, as you recall, in Nunavut with our Meliadine and Amaruq mines, having newly built them in 2019. So the timing wasn't perfect, but when this became available again, we moved very quickly just before Christmas to tie this up.
I mean, you basically have broken ground. Those were greenfield projects. I guess there aren't that many green fields in that part of the world, but for those huge Arctic mines that you've already built. But Hope Bay has a lot of the infrastructure already in place.
Well, that was one of the other attractive features here, is that there's been significant investment on that project, Newmont and then TMAC. And so we're coming into something which has already had significant investment, but also de-risked it in a way. There's still work to do. It's not easy. There's some cost to be brought down, but we just see it as a strategic fit for us. It's a fit for our skill set and experience in Nunavut. It's the type of situation that we've demonstrated several times in our history that we can add a lot of value to through a patient and consistent approach. So we're really excited to be in this spot today.
Just remind us, what kind of production does Hope Bay have right now, Sean?
It's about 100,000 ounces a year. The mill is sort of scaled back. They're campaigning the ore at the moment. So there's certainly potential to optimize what's been built. Ultimately, we think there's an expansion scenario there as we continue to drill and grow the deposits. But first things first, we're going to get on the ground, look to optimize what's there, but also get some more drills going. There hasn't been a lot of drilling done. TMAC really didn't have the financial resources or capacity to add a lot of exploration drills and attractive budgets. We have that, and so first things first, get on the ground. But we'll be ramping up drilling. We think there's a big potential here to add a lot more ounces.
Now, TD had a look at what multiple you're paying here. And of course, there's always, I know, millions of variables, not literally millions, but a lot of variables on how you calculate a net asset value. However, the TD reckons that you're paying about 70% of net asset value here, which is on the lower end of other gold deals, say the Semafo takeover or Detour. However, TD also says TMAC's had financial difficulties and ongoing technical difficulties at that mill, and a new mill may ultimately have to be built. So they think it's a reasonable valuation. I mean, the project, as you indicated, there is work to be done at this project.
Yes, there is, but TMAC's actually turned it around in the second half of 2020. You could see that in their third quarter results. They generated about $25 million in cash. So that continued through the fourth quarter. So big turnaround versus the first part of 2020. So it's heading in the right direction. Now I think it just needs some more experience, and we bring that to the table. But as far as the processing facility goes, it's working effectively now. Recoveries are up into the high 80% range. They had been struggling in the past with that. But ultimately, if we're going to expand production significantly there, which we believe we can, we likely need a new processing facility. But all of that will be factored in as we work through our analysis this year. We're in no hurry to spend a lot of capital there, but we are in a hurry to get more drills going there because we think there's a lot more gold.
you agreed to pay more than Shandong did, about 26% more. Why did you increase your price? I mean, you could have just said, well, we'll give you what Shandong gave you. I mean, the shareholders had already approved that deal.
Yeah, there was a few things here. One is that, as we said, in the second half of the year, they were generating cash at TMAC. And if you look at the total increase in consideration, it's about 60 million Canadian. Well, they've been generating about 25 million a quarter. So conditions have certainly improved since the $1.75 deal was struck between TMAC and Shandong. So we factored that into consideration. But the other thing that I think we were focused on is the uniqueness of this structure. We haven't seen in our view this type of deal where you get a company stepping into the shoes of another company, as you said, out of an already a shareholder approved deal. So we were looking to ensure that all the stakeholders had something as we worked on this structure. It came together quite quickly. If you think the Canadian government decided that they weren't going to allow the Shandong deal to proceed back on December 21st. Here we are, January the 5th, announcing a deal. So part of that was because we got to look at it. We had a CA for a while here, but then we were able to get into this unique structure, take the place of Shandong. This could actually close before the end of January. It's important from a timing perspective, and this was a consideration because the longer you wait in Nunavut, you run into your barge season. You've got to start planning now. It was important for us to be able to get in and start to make some critical decisions on ordering key supplies and materials this summer.
That's interesting. You did it really quickly during the holiday season, Sean.
We were busy, but I wonder if you noticed my green tie. I know you rock the green ties, but I knew I was doing this, so I put the green tie on. We were busy. We were working through the holidays, but it was well worth it.
Now, you mentioned the barge season there because, of course, the sea unfreezes and you can get a ship in. So tell us what that involves. How big are those barges? I mean, how many tons of stuff would you anticipate moving in a typical season?
Not really sure how many tons, but for a mine like a Meliadine, when we're in construction, we're bringing in about 8 barges in that shipping season, and there'd be hundreds and hundreds of sea containers. So it's a exercise in logistical planning. This mine is much smaller than the mines at Meadowbank and Meliadine. So we've done this since 2007 in terms of organizing barge seasons. So we've got a ton of experience. So we've got experience across the board, and I think it was the right time with the right opportunity in the right place at the right price. It was a deal that we really wanted to get done.
Maybe we could put up that map again of where Hope Bay is and then your other giant Arctic mines, Amaruq, Meadowbank and Meliadine. So this one is on the coast. Does that make life easier getting stuff in?
Yes, it does. As Meliadine is also on the coast, makes it much easier because it limits your overland transportation, which is problematic when there's not a lot of roads up there. So having it right on the coast is a big advantage here.
Sean, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Sean Boyd, the CEO of Agnico Eagle.